Wow, wow, wow. The blog post is live and there's a lot of good stuff in here. But I want to go to the absolute favorite part because this is something that I've been talking about quite a bit. A note on Red Stars, and they acknowledge here in the blog post the possibility of improving the power curve. This is a huge, big deal. Now, my main issue with Red Stars has always been the RNG nature of Red Stars. However, the power curve is a secondary problem, absolutely. If we look at the power curve right here behind me, 1 stars, you get nothing. 5 stars, you get nothing. 3 stars, you get nothing. 4 stars is where you start to get a significant increase, 20%. And it seems like the majority of my roster is settling at 3 and 4 stars. And I feel especially lucky when I get a 5 stars. And then 6 is like, oh my God, I pulled a 6 stars, and 7 stars, I've never done it. It's too random and the power curve is too steep, and they have to change it. And so I'm hoping they'll do something like giving 10% here at the bottom. Make this 12%, make this 15%, make this 20%, make this 30%, make this 45%, make this 60%, something. And give us more access to promotion credits so we can upgrade our rosters. They really have to do this, because if they're going to introduce a new progression system, which is in theory going to be ISO 8, it's going to be broken in conjunction with the Red Star system. If you have a 7 Red Star Captain Marvel and God tier ISO 8, then what? It's just broken. And so I hope that they'll do what they're saying here. It seems to me that they're really listening to the blog post. There's still some issues here that haven't been addressed, and some of it is it seems like they're stalling. And the main takeaway that I have from that is I like what they're saying, and I'll believe it when I see it. But I have to kind of just wait and see what happens. Now, let's talk about the rest of the thing in the blog post. They talk about the unlock methods for Cyclops and Symbiote Spider-Man, and it looks like Cyclops is going to be available in these Ruby Heart orbs, where the fragments are going to be earned in Battle Blitz milestones. So this is going to be the same way, or at least the way that I interpret this post, as Ghost Rider and Namor were unlocked. And then they talk about Spider-Man Symbiote, which is going to be a reoccurring milestone. So to me, that seems to me that is going to be similar to the same way that Coulson and Captain Marvel will be unlocked. And a lot of people have been pointing out to me that in-game, Symbiote Spider-Man was changed to 100 shard unlock from 180. The War Star, Graviton is going to the War Star. That's great. War Star is especially rare. I kind of felt like they were going to put Colossus here. And then later on the post, they readdressed the Cadence issue that's been brought up all week long. Next legendary event is going to be Phoenix, which requires villain mystic controllers at 6 stars. And again, I want to restate that Nobu is trash, as well as Hand Assassin. They're not that great of characters, and you do have to take them to 6 stars to unlock basically the most powerful character in the game, probably up there with Ultron. Absolutely. Upcoming blitzes, they're going to bring the 4-hour cooldown back to Mr. Fantastic. Now, a lot of people don't have Mr. Fantastic unlocked. The last time that they did the 4-hour cooldown, it was with a character that almost everybody has. So I think they're testing turnout on this. And then they also mentioned that there's going to be Blitz, which is going to have the traditional 2-hour cooldown. I don't have an opinion on the 4-hour and the 2-hour cooldown thing. I gave up on Blitz when it was changed from 6 hours down to 2 hours. There are people that blitz all the time. They probably have a better opinion on this. I probably continue to only do the milestones. Mercenary events, they're going to be doing the double drops, or they're going to have some sort of boosted drops, and they're going to have the gold in the Payday Flash event. I love the Flash event. I wish it was way more frequently. Seems like it's coming once a month, but I wish it was more often, maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. Killmonger had an adjustment to the text. It was incorrectly stated in game at 330% at level 7. The correct amount is 240%. So if you want to have your T4 ability materials refunded, contact customer support in the next 2 weeks and they will refund them back to you. Challenge tier updates. Now, I spent 4 hours earlier on Twitch trying to get 3 stars on tier 12, and I was unsuccessful in doing that. Although I do have footage on some of these of getting 3 stars on tier 11. I will post that probably tomorrow or later on today when I have time to rearrange the footage. I personally greatly enjoy the difficulty on this. I know some people think it's too difficult. The one thing I will say is the rewards seem very stingy. I just wish the rewards were better in this, but I personally really like the difficulty, and I believe it's just a matter of time for when the community figures out the most efficient way to get 3 stars on tier 12 on some of these events, and it's just like a puzzle. Has to be unlocked, and the path is currently unknown. Economy improvements, and there's a bunch of things that they're talking about here. The 2 things in the economy that they're talking about improving is the availability of orange gear and of gold, and both of these updates are currently live in game. If you go into the store and look at the gold orbs, you will see that the number now reflects higher amounts, and it looks like the base amount was slightly increased. Before, the gold orbs averaged 187,000 on average per drop. That's when you take into account a million drops or getting up to 3 million. But now the average amount is increased to 225,000. So they are guaranteeing 150 up to 7 million. Love to see a screenshot of someone giving 7 million. And they also boosted the gold inside of the basic orbs. Before, it had an insultingly low amount of gold inside of the basic orbs, and they increased that. And I believe they also increased the amount in premium orbs, some more availability of orange gear inside of the raid store, and I like these improvements quite a bit. Actually, there's more access to purple gear as well. The ticket cost to unlocking a purple gear has been dropped to 1,500 and orange gear to 2,500. And then also there is a row right here of allowing for purchase of gold materials, orange gears. I'm a big fan of this, and I'm hoping I can move my characters closer to 14 sooner than later, so I'll be ready for Dark Dimension. Still don't know what to do on the last 4 nodes, which are going to require city. I have a loose plan for global and cosmic, but I still have no clue what to do for that city. I think it's going to be Spider-Verse, but we will have to see. So they talk about this in the blog post, and this is all welcome, and that stuff is currently live in game. Next, they talk about the farmable character Cadence, and what they say here is that basically this month we're going to get 3 characters that are going to be made farmable. Namor, which was added to the raid store, and Graviton, which is going to the war store, and then later on the month they're going to have Colossus. Now, some people were saying, Graviton war store. I was actually kind of worried that they were going to put Colossus in the war store, so hopefully Colossus is just put on a node and I can farm him. I need Colossus yesterday. I needed him months ago. But they do double down on the ideas that their goal is going to make 2 characters farmable per month, and then there'll be occasional months where they can only do 1. I mean, if they're going to be releasing 4 characters a month and 4 characters a month through orbs and then through a blitz, I would like to see a 1-for-1 personally. Now, this is where they address the red stars, and this is my opinion, the most important part of this post. And it's also the number 1 problem in the game, the randomness of red stars and then the sheer power level. And I'm going to read this because I think it's important and to take the wording into account. Finally, we want to touch up on the topic of red stars again. We understand that the red star system does not offer the same reliable means of character progression found in many systems within Strikeforce. It's random, it's RNG, it's a lottery, it's frustrating, which, combined with the degree of power the red stars provide, has become a point of frustration for many players. Yes, and I just want to take a step back and say, there is something about opening red stars. You know, it spins around and you get something a surprise. And part of me really likes that, but part of me also know that's the part of me that also likes gambling. I just want to put that out of there. I kind of like it, but I kind of also dislike it. But what frustrates me is just that it's different than the rest of the game. So I'm glad that they're actually just putting this into text. We share that concern and want to improve the system by injecting greater agency into it in a way that doesn't undermine its positives or the investment players have already made into Red Stars. And this is where we get to the part that really struck me as positive. The team continues to actively discuss this while testing the potential impact of some encouraging solutions, including the possibility of improving the power curve. Yeah, it's way too steep. Being that we have 0 accessibility to 6 and 7 stars, and that's where the real power is, it would be better if it's flatter. That would, in my opinion, would be much better. Notably, it may well be that some of the changes we've mentioned today may not work as expected and will have to be revisited as we consider their impact further. So they're saying they're going to have to test things. It's also important to note that any changes we implement will have an impact on the overall balance of the game. So we need to be extremely mindful not to introduce any unintended consequences by rushing forward with untested changes. And so what they're going to say is basically give us until the 21st of February and our blog post then. To that end, we need to consider the impact of our proposed changes we have and test them thoroughly. It's too early to commit to the specifics about these proposals until we're more confident that we will improve the system meaningfully. And I think that this is coming to head now for 2 reasons. One, they're trying to introduce ISO 8. And I think there's some conflicts with ISO 8 and the Red Star system. But more importantly, the issues that have been brought up in the last week and the community outrage have come to a head. And I just got to give everybody that organized the outrage props. Looks like it's working. I really like that they are at least talking about it and talking with us about the solutions and the problems that we're experiencing. And then they keep on going further. It's saying they apologize for the delay. The Marvel Strike Force team has packed a pipeline of features, real-time PvP, which is the biggest thing ever, in my opinion. I'm really excited. Quality of life improvements. My goodness, squad management, please. But we should have turned our focus to updating the Red Star system. Some of the other items on our checklist. Yes, we've been screaming about this for like a year now. To be clear, that doesn't mean that we won't continue working on other improvements to the game, but we understand that we should have focused our efforts on this particular issue sooner. We appreciate the community's patient and consistent recommendations to improve the system. We believe that we can nail down the plan for improvements, and we want to make in 2 weeks, as well as commit to a future date when these changes will go live and endeavor to share more details at that time. And they're going to get back to us on February 21st. I'm curious to know what you guys think. What do you think about this? I personally like what they're saying here, yes, but I will believe it when I see it. I want to see it. I want to see it in game. But I really think this is a step in the right direction. It does seem to me that they are in touch with what we are going through and what we're upset about. And I think that is a good thing. All right, guys, thanks for watching and keep on gaming.